If I removed certain fundamental words from you, my next book is called The Power of Holy Language. And it's a study on what's happened to us because certain critical words are no longer part of our common parlance. We do not use the word conscience anymore. We use the word consciousness. Consciousness doesn't mean anything. What does it mean? It has no meaning whatsoever. Nothing, zero. It can mean anything you want. You're conscious because you recycle. You're conscious because you eat organic. But there's nothing in that word that connects you to the sacred or to a sense of moral reasoning or moral conscience or ethical reasoning. Nothing. Nothing. I have never, in my 35 years and teaching in 30 countries, 30 some whatever, had anyone come into one of my workshops and said, I'm here because I'm suffering from a crisis of conscience. I know what is right, and I keep choosing otherwise, and it is conscious. I've never once, and yet, when I look at people, I know that where their anguish comes from, where their inner conflict comes from, is not their childhood, but because they are living a constant flow of acts of self-betrayal. Constant. They hear, don't. They know what it is to say to somebody when they say, will you keep this a secret? Will you hold this in your heart because my heart is breaking and I can't sustain this anymore? Will you carry this in your heart for me and hold it in privacy? And the person says yes, all the while knowing, who can I call with this? And use it as a way to say, see how close we are, but don't you tell anybody. Knowing full well they're going to break their word and betray the person, the very person they're looking at, while saying, yes, I'll keep it a secret. Knowing full well they are consciously going to betray that person. While giving their word. And these accumulative acts of betrayal are crises of the soul. The crises of the soul. And while you think you can get away with blaming your parents for this character defect, this is a personal choice. And it fractures your soul. It fractures your conscience. And it makes it impossible to go back to how I opened up this workshop. It makes it impossible for you to have trust and faith in yourself. And if you lack trust and faith in yourself, I assure you that having trust and faith in God is next to impossible. And that within you, within the depth of your soul, Hannah, are you okay, honey? Within yourself starts vibrating a sense that life itself is not a trustworthy journey. That life itself is not a trustworthy journey. But you're the missing link. And the word conscience is not there. And when you say to yourself, I wonder what's wrong, I wonder what the problem is, you don't have the word to identify it. And so the option is you start tumbling into depression. The only place you can go, you start tumbling into depression. Because the absence of the word you need to access what is wrong with me. It's a crisis of conscience. It's not a bad childhood. It's a crisis of conscience caused by endless acts of self-betrayal. Are you with me here? Okay. Now your soul is that part of you that says, like a metronome, don't you consider betraying yourself. That's going to stop. That's going to stop. And it becomes increasingly difficult to do because the soul is the instrument in you that craves, and here's the operative word, congruence. becoming congruent. And congruent is this, when you become vertical. When thought, feeling, when you say, what should I do here? And guidance says, do this. And you recognize you have gotten your instruction and thought goes into form, goes into action, just like this. And you don't have you aren't an inner obstacle course. You're not meant to be an obstacle course. You're meant to be able to, where your thought goes into your mind, so it takes, where your intuitive guidance, where's my here? Where your intuitive guidance goes into your mind in order to find language so you can interpret the light and language it. Give it words. So your intellect says, what is this? What's the data coming through this light? Okay, that data says go, dot, dot. Like the time I walked into the farmhouse in New Hampshire and I walk in and boom,